Hello, welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror films. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm also here. Hi, Josh.
What is your name?
What is my name? Hi, I'm Drusilla Adeline. I am the co-hostess of Bloodhouse, an art house horror podcast where we talk about art house and horror in a non-snobby way. This week, we talk about...
We're off to a bangin' start this week.
I like making fun of NPR. Hello.
Hello, you're on the air. How's it going? How are you? You timed your sip of iced tea or whatever that is beautifully.
It is absolutely peach Snapple. If you see me drinking anything at any point at any moment of my life, it is more than likely peach Snapple. I'm doing very well. Yeah, I finally have my little home studio design space. Like,
it looks great.
Set up. I've got a little sofa in here. I got my little coffee table with all my art books. I've got all my art.
I see a shelf of VHS behind you.
Oh, there's a shelf of VHS tapes there, and off camera there's another shelf of VHS tapes over there, and a shelf of nothing but 1960s pulp paperbacks.
Ooh.
And then I also have a closet which is exclusively full of vintage movie posters.
Wow.
And then a bathroom. It's nice. It's a nice little studio space, and I adore it so much. And after about 4 months since my roommate moved out of converting it, it's finally where I want it to be. I've got a TV next to my little design desk setup, with a Blu-ray player, a Chromecast, and a Laserdisc player. And I also have about 5 guitars in this room. So
Jeez.
I could if I had a mini fridge, I could lock myself in this room and just survive for like 2 months probably.
It's like your goth cishet.
I feel like this is my like zoo enclosure.
Right. Your habitat.
This is my habitat. I'm left little bits of enrichment throughout the day.
It's like a biodome.
Yes. If anyone in Biodome, I am Pauly Shore. I'm definitely not Stephen Baldwin. God forbid. The only instance in which I would prefer to be Pauly Shore. How are you? How are you, Josh? Are you feeling very Stephen Baldwin today?
I don't feel like Stephen Baldwin on any day, but I am struggling. My dog, who is almost 5 years old, has suddenly decided in the past couple of months to start waking up at 4:30 in the morning on the dot.
Oh.
Crying for breakfast, which is at like 6 at the earliest. So she's like walking on you, she's nudging at your face, she's crying, and you just have to lay there with her until 6 in the morning. So what happens now is like I'm up from like 4:30 to 6 babysitting her because I can't feed her any earlier because then she'll just keep waking me up earlier and earlier. So I'm trying to like retrain her. And so I lose that time of sleep, and then I go back to sleep once she's eaten, and I wake up at like 9. So my sleep schedule is like so fucked up, and I don't really know what to do about it. I mean, everything I read when I Google is like, don't sleep with your pets. And it's like, well, she's 5. I've been doing this her whole life. So I can't like put her in a crate now because she'll just spend the whole night screaming. So yeah, it's fucked up.
Is she okay? Does she have like a tapeworm or something like that?
No, she just is a whiny little bitch. She does it at dinner time too, and she's done that her whole life. So if dinner is at 5:30, she starts crying at 3 p.m. Like she's never eaten, like she's never gonna have a meal, like we're gonna forget to feed her. It's so annoying and manipulative. And she's very manipulative. Like if it's cold outside and she doesn't want to go, she'll pretend to pee or poop, but like really badly because she knows she'll get a treat and then she knows she can go inside. It's like, I'm not as dumb as you. Like, I can see that you fake peed. You know, like, she's such a little bitch.
This is such a beautiful insight into Josh as a parent and what kind of a child you would raise.
Yeah. I'm actually a very strict dad. I have very high standards.
You would absolutely, like, if Edie was like your daughter and not just like your dogged her, would absolutely be like one of those little like mean pageant girls.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I have this joke that people don't always think is funny, I think, but like I pretend like I don't care about her or think, like somebody will be like, "Where's Edie?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Or I'll be like, "Oh, she's like out with friends or something." you know? Someone showed up in a Corvette and then they went to the mall, and I think they're at the Americana. I don't
She's
know.
out with Angeline.
Yeah, exactly.
My boss is like a grizzled mid-50s former punk. And he's a big fucking biker kind of dude. And he
The
has
best kind of heterosexual.
He has
man.
the smallest chihuahua you could ever find. Her name is
Aww.
Tiny. And he treats her the exact same way. He's a very good dog dad. However, if someone's like, "Hey, where's Tiny?" He's like, "I don't know, probably got run over." Like, and people get so mad, but I'm like, "Oh, it's funny. It's your dog."
The kind of man that you're describing, I've never met your boss, but the kind of man you're describing is like top shelf straight man.
Yes.
Like a middle-aged, grizzled former punk rocker is like A+, the best that you can arrive at. In terms
Honestly,
of cishet men.
Yeah, I strongly agree. If you can't be Jason Sudeikis, at least you can be Jello Biafra.
Exactly. Henry Rollins type. Although Henry Rollins is like actually hot, so that's like sort of
Henry
a
Rollins is a
category.
beefcake, and that's a specific... Henry Rollins might be the ideal man. We have not gotten into this on the pod before. However, we've hinted at this in other episodes. But Henry Rollins might be the man. When God created Adam, he was thinking of Henry Rollins.
He was practicing for Henry Rollins. Like, the nerve to be buff and smart and kind is like, get out of here with that. But thank God.
I know, and have that good of taste, and have starred in the 1990s cinematic classic, The Getaway with Charlie Sheen.
Yes. He also made a like long, he and RuPaul, I listened to a podcast, I don't know if it was his or RuPaul's, but they were together and they were talking about how they made a music video together in the 90s that never aired for some reason. They're like really good friends. And so I'm curious to know what that music video was for, what the music type is, and just all of the context of that I'm interested in. I don't know. Have you seen anything cool?
Yes, oh my god. I have. According to my letterbox, what have I seen? Well, honestly, I've been rewatching a lot of stuff. It's been that kind of a week. It's like I'm feeling good, I'm doing well. However, I'm like in big work mode and working on the house mode. So it's been a lot of like Parks and Rec in the background while I've been doing
That's one
stuff.
of my comfort shows too. I've watched that like 5 times through probably.
It's really upsettingly easy to, as soon as you put on one episode, you have to do 7 seasons worth of television.
Totally.
But I rewatched one of my absolute favorite movies of all time the other day, and I finally showed it to a friend of mine who's never seen it. Terry Gilliam's The Fisher King.
I've never seen that.
Okay.
I feel like... Sorry. I've never seen that.
Well, Shaggy, I feel like you would like it.
Okay.
I know you have this big wealth of 90s cynicism that would make you not want to see this kind of a movie. Because it is, like, to one degree, like, schmaltzy, feel-good, like, studio movie, like, redemption kind of story. But it's also a fucking Terry Gilliam movie with Amanda Plummer and Mercedes Ruehl and Kathy Najimy and, like, Michael Jeter and, like...
Great cast.
And, of course, it's led by Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams. It's the first movie to be written by Richard LaGravenese, who's an incredible screenwriter. And it's Terry Gilliam trying to be a normal studio director. Which, spoiler alert, he's still Terry Gilliam. It's incredible. If you don't know The Fisher King, Jeff Bridges plays a kind of somewhere in between shock jock Howard Stern, asshole radio host, and Frasier Crane radio host. David Hyde Pierce is also in this movie, who inadvertently is the cause of a mass shooting.
Oh my god.
Loses his career. This is from 1991.
Yeah.
No one knew. Loses his whole career and ends up working at a shitty video store, which is incredible, by the way, with his new girlfriend, Mercedes Rule. She won an Academy Award for the performance. She's
I do remember.
incredible. Fresh off of Married to the Mob, another favorite. And one night, while out on a bender, he befriends a homeless man named Perry, played by Robin Williams, who believes himself to be a knight on a quest to retrieve the Holy Grail from a rich house on the Upper East Side. It's very, very, very funny. It has an incredible cast. Tom Waits has a small part in it. It is really, really, really funny. Really, 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 really beautiful. Really, really, really strange. Cannot recommend it highly enough. I want to live inside of this movie. I have a tattoo of the Holy Grail from the movie's poster on my hand.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me to be a schmaltzy, kind person and to act with love. I don't know. I love this movie. It's very, very, very special to me. And it's been a while since I've watched it, so having an excuse to, like, dip back into it is always really, really special. And I always kind of forget how really good this movie is. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this might be... It's such a studio movie, and it's such a, like... This is what Hollywood could be. This is what Hollywood is trying to do with most of their like movies.
Yeah.
But it's still weird and from one dude's vision in a way that works. And it just, I don't know, it's perfect. It might be my favorite movie. Who's to say? Makes me cry real hard.
I do love a sweet movie, for the record. It just has to be sincere. I have like a really strong bullshit detector for insincere schmaltziness. So, for instance, one of my favorite movies of all time is Harold and Maude, which is like an incredibly sweet movie. I love John Waters' Hairspray, which is a sweet, feel-good. So I like these movies. It has to be done well.
I feel like you would like The Fisher King because it is still a very cynical view of the 90s and of New York City and capitalism, while still being like very sincere and very sweet and very funny, and it pulls off slapstick and makes Robin Williams shtick, which sometimes can be grating if you've seen Patch Adams or or Mrs. Doubtfire or any of his bad movies. Just comes off so sweet, and he's able to turn on a dime into like making you cry, and then has some reference to his penis, and you're like, okay, got it. Yep, we're still doing that. Lovely. I don't know. I love it. I think you would like it a lot. And revisiting it this week was just an absolute fucking delight. Highlight of my week.
That sounds good. Yeah, I haven't thought about that movie in a long... I mean, I've never seen it. That's probably why. But I do remember, I remember the trailer on TV and things like that, and I remember her winning that Oscar. And
I avoided it because I thought it was going to be a certain kind of movie. Like, do you remember The Soloist with Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr., where he's like an asshole who finds redemption by helping out a homeless cello player played by... and I watched that on an airplane at one point in time, and I was like, this is the worst. And I thought The Fisher King was just the 90s version of that, and I was like, fuck no. I avoided it for years, and then I was bored in high school, and it was like on TV or something, and I was like, I'll give this a shot. And then within like the first 2 minutes, I was fucking hooked and sold. It's so... But also, like, this movie's idea of being washed up and, like, ground zero is that you work at a video store and live above a video store with Mercedes Rule circa 1991.
Yeah.
That is my dream, sir.
Yeah.
That is everything I want. That's your rock bottom?
90s cynicism is so funny and interesting as an aesthetic, because when I look back, I realize now that it was like sort of a luxury. Because the 90s compared, and I mean, the 2020s are now my fifth decade that I've lived through, because I was born in 1980, right? So, is that right? I don't know. 40s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who can count? But the 90s were, comparatively, such a peaceful, simple time. You know what I mean? In the US anyway, like there was nothing really happening. We had no existential fears. And there was this sense that we were post-history, that we were living, you know, like history had been resolved and we were now modern and everything was going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened that ruined that. I can't remember what, but like, so anyways, just like, it was easy to be cynical, have like a cynical sense of humor because everything was fine. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just a weird time.
The economy was good. And
yeah.
like...
we weren't at any, we had a war, but it wasn't like a serious one. You know, and it was for people that we didn't see, poor people who lived in Appalachia and stuff like that got sent there, not us. It was just like an easy time.
Yeah. I mean, everything was boiling under the surface. As we would later find out between 1998 and 2008, that shit was about to go it was all cooking. And
there was like AIDS and there was stuff happening, but there, you know, 9/11 was something else. I remember rewatching a couple of years ago My So-Called Life, which I loved on air as a teenager because I'm the same age as those characters. And there's a internal monologue where the character Angela is watching the JFK assassination in history class at school. And her internal monologue is like, nothing like this has ever happened for me where I can remember exactly where I was when such and such happened. And I remember feeling that way too until 9/11. I mean, before 9/11, the closest thing to that was honestly the O.J. Simpson trial, which everyone watched like at school as the verdict came out. So it was just like such a simple time.
I was going to say like when the Challenger blew up or something, like...
I was a little bit too young to remember that.
Well. I mean, like parts of those aspects of the world do leak into the Fisher King, which I like a lot. There'll be whole scenes where like it's pretty dark Terry Gilliam sense of humor, and someone will be going on very manically talking about something, and then on a dime will just be like, "Well, I watched all of my friends die." And you're like, oh, yeah, you're a survivor of the AIDS epidemic. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, that's also going on. Holy fucking shit. There's just like little like blips of that throughout the movie. These little like trauma spikes. And that just remind you that like, yeah, these are all real people, all with huge lives behind them. Like, Tom Waits plays a Gulf War vet. Like...
Oh...
It's very, very good. It somehow is able to do all of that, like, and end the movie on like a 1940s like fireworks the end credit card. Like it's able to like pull off that humor and whimsy and magic while still being so grounded. I don't know. It's magic. I love it. What have you been watching, Josh?
Oh, well, it's time to bring back an old segment. Boop, ba, da, boop, boop, boop. Bergman Report. I watched the Ingmar Bergman film Summer with Monika for the first time.
That's one of the best!
Okay, I thought so too, but then all the people on Letterboxd are like, this is a, you know, lesser Bergman film. Because it's like more accessible than some of his later films, or, you know, it's early.
It is early.
I loved it. I thought it was gorgeous.
Summer with Monika was one that, I mean... I'd already probably seen a lot of Bergman movies before that I saw it, and so it really kind of... Because he made a lot of comedies before he made, like, Seventh Seal and The White and Wild Strawberries in the same year, and then became, like, existential art house god. But Summer with Monika is, like, the crux in between that. It is still a, like... light teen summer romance comedy
for the first half,
and then the back half is just like a gut punch in the most beautiful way. But
a lot of people on Letterboxd said that they felt like it was misogynistic, which I think is uncharitable, and I think is kind of a privileged perspective because the movie kind of turns Monika into a shrew a little bit in the second half, but that's like the perspective of somebody who didn't grow up poor and watch what happened when like a teenage girl became a mother and a wife. And that is what happens because capitalism kind of chews you up and spits you out, and like it's not an easy life. So I just felt like that was such a privileged and uncharitable read of this movie.
I don't even think it's remotely misogynistic. And that's also,
No.
like, it's a very limited view of that movie, too, because you also have to understand, to make that kind of a read, you have to understand the creator's external filmography around that. These movies are not made in a bubble. So, like, we'll go watch Autumn Sonata and then come back to me and say that Summer with Monika is misogynistic.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck no.
Or people will complain about the dated gender dynamics, and it's like, well, this is a movie from 1953. Like, what do you want?
What do you expect?
Yeah.
It was Bergman's first quote-unquote success in America, and I put massive quotes around that because when it was released in America in the 1950s, it was heavily re-edited and billed as Monika, a softcore porn film.
That's so funny. The things that we do to foreign films here, it's so stupid.
And I think it only played that way for like decades. Even after the acclaim of his other movies, it still was like...
They are like skinny dipping in the movie a lot, and she is nude in the movie a lot, which is pretty shocking for 1953 in America anyway. So I do get it a little bit.
But it's never played salaciously.
No.
It's really tender. It reminds of Moonrise Kingdom in the way of just like, this is this youthful exploration.
But I mean, all of our earliest, like, sexy films in the US were, like, quote-unquote nudist films, where it's just naked people on pogo sticks or playing volleyball or whatever. So it doesn't not fit into that oeuvre, you know?
Yeah, it was inadvertently there's, like, nature sex films.
Yeah.
Because you could only get away with nudity if it had, like, some redeeming social value. So it's like a documentary on, like, this is how the nudists in New Guinea live. Look at them, with their strange rituals and lack of clothing. Look as we zoom in on the lack of clothing. And then 5 men bust in the same movie theater at the same time. We are no longer a society.
It's maybe people don't like it as much because it is so accessible. I mean, it has a very linear. It does have some weird camera stuff and some weird editing stuff, but really, it's like a very straightforward narrative that is like very accessible and sort of traditional. So maybe that's why people don't like it as much. But I loved it.
I feel like it's a really good entry point into Bergman. Or additionally, the way that you watch it is fucking ideal. If you went really hard on Persona and Through a Glass Darkly and Winter Light and all those movies, and you're like, fucking woof. It's a good, like, in-between. To get you from Persona to Hour of the Wolf, you kind of need to take a little sojourn with Monika. Or you might need to take a Summer Interlude, another one of his movies from the 50s, which is also very charming and very easy and delightful. Not all of them have to be the most, like, profound thing. Homework. I don't feel like... I mean, The Seventh Seal, for instance, isn't homework to me. The Seventh Seal...
No, but that's I think, his best movie, kind of undisputably.
Yes. It's like... The Seventh Seal is underratedly funny. Like, there are jokes in that movie. There's, like, big humorous set pieces in that movie. And everyone forgets that because they end the movie crying and want to kill themselves. But, like...
Yeah.
It's important to know that, like, all of those things can fit into an artist's canon equally and present the flow of a career and a style and a tone. And I don't know.
And as much as I loved Cries and Whispers and Persona and Hour of the Wolf, and they're challenging. They're not like, you know, it has like that homework feeling a little bit. And Summer with Monika doesn't. It's just an easy movie.
Yeah. Hour of the Wolf is not what I'm going to be rewatching on a loop.
We'll have to do it
day.
for the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about why we're here. Today, we're here to talk about a biggie. It's a little bit challenging to do an episode on this just because it is so well covered.
There's multiple documentaries about not even the movie, but people's takes on the movie.
Yes. We are talking about, of course, from 1980, directed by the great Stanley Kubrick, The Shining.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? I hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker. From what I've been told, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family. Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me. That's right.
Mom, they really won't go and live in that hotel.
I don't know of a time in my life when I hadn't seen this movie. I don't remember watching it for the first time. I do have vague memories of seeing it as a child and being terrified. And I've read the book a few times, once when I was quite young. I do remember the weird TV miniseries adaptation coming out. Then there was Dr. Sleep, the book and the movie. So in some ways, this book has always been with me. How about you?
You've always been the caretaker of The Shining.
I've always been the caretaker here.
By contrast, I vividly remember the first time I watched The Shining. I have a very long history with this movie. So I was probably in the first grade. I was homesick
Great
from school.
time to watch The Shining.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Around this time, in elementary school, probably first or second grade, I would be homesick from school, and my mom wasn't working at the time. So a lot of those homesick from school days would be me on the couch in the living room while she folded laundry next to me, and we had something on the TV. And it was usually like whatever movie was playing on like local TV that she wanted to be on the background. And so because of I saw Rear Window that way, I saw a lot of Hitchcock movies that way, but I saw The Shining for the first time that way. And I very vividly remember like being sick, sitting on the couch with my mom, she's folding laundry and she was flipping through channels, and then lands on the carpet of the hallway, and Danny riding his big wheel around and finding the twins. And like it was that scene, and my mom stopped and was like, "Oh my god, this movie's so good, we need to watch this." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And we just watched the rest of The Shining. And I was like, like not even 10 years old, dude. I was fucking young, and I was just like constantly covering my eyes, because I think what I liked about it as a child was that it was scaring me, but not making me sit in the scary imagery. It would show you a flash of the hacked up bodies and stuff like that, which was so much for me as a child, and I did have nightmares about that. But I could quickly cover my eyes when that happened, and then quickly get back into the movie. Unlike other things that I would have to see being put on where like the whole thing is like squirmy and gross, and I'd run away terrified. And look at me now, Ma, 20 years later, I'm doing nothing but watching that shit. So that's when I first saw it. However, I then would see The Shining every single year. Because my family has a weird tradition. Apparently, this is family lore. This is based on what my mother and my father have separately told me, and I can't imagine them both coming up with a lie like this because they're not creative enough, especially my father. My mother is, my dad is not, and he's not good at keeping his lies straight. So yeah, I have to. This sounds like it's a real thing. In the late 80s, when my mother was in high school and right before they started dating, at around the holidays, the local TV stations in Indiana would obviously show tons of Christmas movies at Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life got played on fucking repeat, and they would play Night of the Living Dead and Halloween around Halloween. On Thanksgiving, after the big football game, they had nothing to show. So they would play The Shining on local TV after the big Thanksgiving football game, and then Miracle on 34th Street, the one from the 40s.
Wow.
I guess it was like some, like, we don't have a Thanksgiving movie, so here's a Halloween and here's a Christmas.
That's so weird.
And it was the same two movies. It was always those two, because that's whatever package they had. And so they would tell us that separately, that that's what it used to be. So by the point that I was probably in middle school, we would do that every year at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Through to when I was in college. Every year for Thanksgiving, football game would be on while we're cooking. We'd have Thanksgiving dinner. Once the pie comes out, The Shining goes on. And once The Shining is over, Miracle on 34th Street goes on. And everyone falls asleep
so
at the end of
funny.
Miracle on 34th Street on the couch. Every year was those two movies. It's the weirdest tradition my family has ever had.
That's so weird. I mean, I believe you, but traditionally the Thanksgiving movie was Wizard of Oz on television. That's why it's such a classic. As like some network would play Wizard of Oz every Thanksgiving from like the 50s through the 80s, and that's why it's such a classic, because before VHS or DVD or whatever, that's the only time you're going to see Wizard of Oz, you know, like, so you like looked forward to it if you were a little kid in the 70s.
You know what? I would be a very different person if my family had tuned into the Wizard of Oz at Thanksgiving, but nope, they decided on The Shining, Miracle on 34th Street double bill, and here I am.
Well, this is one of those movies that if you ask a random person on the street what they think the scariest movie of all time is, they're probably going to say The Exorcist. If they don't say The Exorcist, they're probably going to say The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
And for my money, I think that's true. I think this movie is genuinely very, very scary. I've seen it probably 10 times, a dozen times in my life, and every single time it really gets under my skin and creeps me out. I think it's genuinely well made, perfectly made. Honestly, I think this is a 5-star movie and very, very scary. I think it's one of the few exceptions to the book is better than the movie. I think this movie is better than this book is. Because Stephen King puts goofy shit in his books sometimes, like the hedge animals coming
Like the
to life.
topiary,
And,
yeah.
blah, like so stupid. Kubrick had a good instinct to like sort of make this more obscure, less literal, I think. I love Stephen King. Don't come for me, listeners, but I think Stanley Kubrick is a better artist than Stephen King is.
Well, and we can
so that's where I stand.
We can get into this at a different point, but if you look at the history and trajectory of Stephen King adaptations as movies,
yeah,
all of the best ones are the earliest ones.
I know Carrie too.
Carrie, The
Such a good
Shining,
adaptation.
Christine, and here's why.
Why?
That early, because Stephen King didn't have as much clout and control over the adaptations.
Oh.
It's when we get to the late part of the 80s when there's like, what's the cat one? Nightwalkers?
Oh, Sleepwalkers.
Sleepwalkers and Maximum Overdrive, when he's like writing them to be movies and when he's directing and
Yeah.
and when he's like producing them and has more control, because he hated The Shining.
He said that it was misogynistic.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Bitch, you read the book!
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, the bigger an artist is, that their work is being sampled from, the more input they have on a project. And Stephen King was the king of horror in the 80s. And as things went on, contractually to adapt his stuff, he was able to have more control. And I think the projects got worse because of that. And you can directly look at Mick Garris's, and again, Mick is incredible, but Mick Garris's TV miniseries adaptation of The Shining, which is far more accurate to the book from the late 90s, which Stephen King loves and endorses. Or you can look at the 1980 film by Stanley Kubrick, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made.
I mean, Stephen King is a great, great writer. We're not disputing that. It's just that film is a different art than literature is. It's completely different. It's not, the skill sets are not one-to-one. As much as you may want them to be. I like Stephen King a lot. He's having a moment right now, of course, like the past 5 or so years, he's become huge again. I can remember huge swaths of my life where he was like considered embarrassing to read and was out of style and all of this sort of stuff. So he's kind of going through his own reappraisal right now, which I'm here for because I adore Stephen King. But I do think you're right. I think his taste is not always the best. The same way that your dad might like a dorky band like Rush or something, you know what I mean?
I like Rush.
Well, I don't know. But
oh no!
Actually, he has very good taste in music. His favorite band is the Ramones. Which is awesome.
That is my note for The Shining. There's not enough Ramones music.
No Ramones.
It needs to be more like Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
We should have gotten, because in the 80s it was a big deal to have a lot of bands on your soundtrack, or to have a popular band write an original song for the movie. The Ramones wrote a song for Pet Sematary. We are missing, like, the Clash's Overlook Hotel track.
Yeah.
The Clash's dub reggae Overlook Hotel track for Stanley Kubrick's The Shining would have completely changed the game. 10 out of 10. Where is Sparks's track, Danny?
This movie did come out in 1980, which means it looks like the 70s. And whenever people this is why I love the movie House of the Devil by Ty West so much. Whenever people make 80s movies, they do like neon and stretch pants and like bright patterns. But if you were in the 80s, most of the decade was brown.
Yes.
Because everything was left over from the 70s. So when I think of the 80s, I think of like a dark brown interior of a Pizza Hut with like glass ashtrays on the table. You know, like the 80s looked like this, not like Saved by the Bell.
So not to get on a tangent, but this is literally exactly the conversations that I had around designing the poster for James Gray's Armageddon Time. Which came out last year. That movie is set in 1980 into 1981 with the 1980 election of Ronald Reagan is like the background of the whole movie. And a lot of the conversations were around like, it needs to look like the 80s. We need to let people know that this is the 1980s. And so a lot of things that were being pitched around were neon and like Memphis design and like bright colors and stuff like that. And then I presented what is now the poster. And it got like basically lived from that onward with very little tweaks, but it was like cream and brown.
Yes.
And that's it. Everything is brown and it's like chunky rounded type. And it's like, yep, that's what 1980 looked like.
Exactly. I mean, that aesthetic is really the late 80s, that bright one.
Yes.
And
that's like 1988 and onward.
Yeah, the only time you would see that in the early 80s is like for very, very wealthy cosmopolitan people, you know, or maybe starting on television in like 1984. But for the rest of us, like working class or just normal people, it was a brown ass decade, everything. And in this movie too, they're fully just wearing bell bottoms. The little kid has a shag haircut and is wearing bell bottom Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. It's like very 70s looking.
Well, everything about Shelley Duvall in this movie is outrageously 70s. All of her we could spend this entire conversation.
This is a fashion movie.
Yes, it is.
Her outfits are fucking goated. That like little Navajo jacket that she's wearing as she tours the hotel is so gorgeous. She's wearing like little scarves that are cute all the time. She's like, her style is up there, and his isn't bad either. He's got some like really expensive cable knit turtlenecks. He's got some cool jeans and boots. I mean, they're both like really turning out the looks.
Well, also Scatman Crothers' apartment, which we get for all of like 2 seconds, is so 70s chic with the big like nude velvet paintings
of like naked black women with giant afros. So cool. And it's so funny because that element is like a little bit campy, but what's happening is so frightening.
Yeah.
He's like in a trance and saying scary shit.
And the music is really like, boom. And you're like, wait the fucking minute.
Scatman is really good in this movie. I mean, that's one of the things that scared me the most as a child is like when you're first touring the hotel and Scatman turns to Danny and without speaking says, "Would you like some ice cream?" Like that gets under my skin so much. God, I love this movie.
I love Scatman Crothers, and Scatman Crothers is not talked about enough when people talk about The
No.
Shining. Everyone talks about Stanley Kubrick, Shelley Duvall, Jack Nicholson, Stephen King, end of list. Scatman Crothers
In that order.
is fucking incredible. And right in line with the way that I first watched The Shining, being sick home from school, the other thing that I would always watch when I was sick home from school, and I don't know how or why, was the animated show from Hanna-Barbera, Kong Phooey, about a dog janitor who hops into a filing cabinet to become a kung fu specialist detective in San Francisco's Chinatown. This is a TV show from the 70s. Hong Kong Phooey is voiced by Scatman Crothers.
Is that right?
That is right. Scatman Crothers was also good friends with Jack Nicholson and had been in multiple films with him before The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Both are incredible in the insanely underrated The King of Marvin Gardens with Bruce Dern.
Yes.
That movie is insanely good. But anyway, Scatman Crothers does not get nearly enough love. He's one of the greatest actors. He's also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
he is the fucking best and does not get nearly enough love. He's so goddamn good in The Shining. And again, he's one of the scarier elements, not for his presence, but for the way his character is dispatched.
Yeah.
He's the light. He is the hope for the future. Oh, and it does not go well.
No. Every time I watch this, I'm like, don't go there. Like when he knows that something bad, he's in Miami, which seems lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Living in his one bedroom by himself, which is like the dream. And he knows that something is going down all the way in Colorado at that snowy hotel. And he gets on a plane and goes there for these white people he barely knows. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, let it happen, Scatman. Stay put.
Well, he helps.
Do not put your neck out there for them.
He does nothing. He helps nothing. All he does is die. Spoiler alert for a movie that everyone has seen.
Yeah.
And for a trope that everyone is familiar with.
Yeah.
Because, he doesn't help. It's not like he...
I guess he calls the police or the authorities, presumably. But
the police or authorities don't show up.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a good segue, because originally, even at the premiere of this, there was an epilogue that got cut, which is a scene where Wendy and Danny are at the hospital talking to the police, and the police tell Wendy that they did not find the body of Jack.
Oh, I don't know this scene.
And sometimes, in the old days, on television, they would recut things, and so they would, sometimes that meant putting in deleted scenes. So I've seen it, because sometimes they would put that in the televised version of the movie. It's much better without it, but it's an interesting thing, because it does raise the question, and this is what Roger Ebert wrote about in his positive review, was who is the narrator, who's the main character of this, and are they reliable in terms of what we're seeing through their point of view? Because Jack is going insane and talking to presumably ghosts, but we're never sure if those ghosts actually exist or if he's just hallucinating them. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, in every scene where he's talking to a ghost, there are mirrors. Mm-hmm. So he could just be talking to himself in the mirror. Danny has a psychic ability, so what he's seeing could just be versions of the past or slightly obscured versions of things that had happened before, because I'm pretty sure at no point in the past did blood pour off of an elevator, but it seems to be representative in some way, I guess is the word. And then the most straightforward is Wendy until the end, when hell's a poppin' and all of the scary things are coming out. So it's the question, so this movie doesn't have a traditional structure in that all three of these people are our protagonist in some ways. Like, we're spending a lot of time with all of them, and it doesn't favor one person's perspective over another until, I guess, partway through it kind of favors Wendy.
Yes.
I would say.
Wendy
for a long time,
is the heroine of the final third. I feel like it moves in stages. Feel like it is Jack's movie at the beginning, which is easy when his actor and character are the same name. It's Jack's movie more or less at the beginning, and then it becomes Danny's movie more in the middle, and then progresses more towards hers at the end. That's the way that the structure of it kind of works in my brain, but it is more fluid than that. It is more back and forth. But the point of their interactions with the supernatural is really important, and I want to thank you for bringing that up, because as we know, there are many readings of the events of The Shining. What does The Shining mean? What do the visual metaphors in The Shining mean? And if you want to know more about how the things in The Shining are actually coded admissions of guilt for faking the moon landing, allow me to direct you to Room 237, a wonderful documentary that gets into all of these things. It's fucking hysterical.
I could not sit through that documentary.
I love that. Honestly, I might have seen that documentary more than I've seen The Shining. I've seen The Shining a lot.
God. Okay.
It's really fun. I find it super, super, super fun.
Maybe I'll give it another shot.
Anyway, well, because the thing that I love about the documentary is that it starts out very, like, normal and reasonable, like the conversations that you and I are having right now about...
Yeah.
And the further it goes on, the more that it's, like, starting to pitch things that you're like, well, maybe, okay. And then by the end, it's like, it's the moon landing! And you're like, oh, god damn it. It's very, very fun, and it's very, very funny, and it's done and executed in an incredible way. However, the one reading and kind of theory into the narrative metaphors of The Shining that I enjoy the most, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but appreciate and maybe connect with the most, is one that Maggie Mae Fish detailed in an incredible video essay that she did comparing and contrasting this movie with David Lynch's Lost Highway.
Interesting.
Which is a very interesting two films to compare, and I am obsessed with that. But her read on The Shining presents it as a story of domestic abuse and trauma, which, like, yup. But more or less all of the psychic and supernatural manifestations are, throughout the majority of the movie, connected to Danny and Jack, because it is Danny being haunted by children who were abused by their parents, murdered by their parents, and him seeing his, like, having his own kind of PTSD trauma flashbacks, and Jack being haunted by both a guilt and a desire to further abuse his son.
And his wife.
And his wife, yes. And he's being haunted by ghosts of men who did these horrible things.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the big thing that everyone talks about that Wendy sees is the, like, person in a bear suit.
Man in a bear suit giving a blowjob to a man in a tuxedo. The person in the bear suit, I didn't notice this until the got, like, a Blu-ray release that was, like, restored. He's got an ass flap that is down and his bare ass is out.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. It's like a onesie pajama suit thing.
Yeah.
And so the reading on that scene is that not only is that her having repressed stumbling upon Jack sexually abusing Danny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That never occurred to me. Ew. Yeah, I mean, that scene with Shelley Duvall is the one scene that makes the idea that this is all made up kind of questionable, right? Because so far, she's been our most sort of reliable narrator and protagonist, because she's not seeing anything supernatural until that. That's the scene where, and that's the climax, right? Like everything's going crazy and suddenly she's seeing ghosts everywhere. So that scene kind of makes it feel like, okay, well, this is actually happening in some way because now she's seeing everything. So it's like she's the reliable narrator, so we can trust her vision.
Or is she one of the least reliable narrators? Because at the beginning of the movie, when they're talking with a counselor, she is talking about how Jack has hurt Danny before, and she is absolutely lying to cover it up and make things seem more normal. He'd left his papers out, and he came home and he was a little drunk. That's never happened. He was just a little too rough with him. That's never happened before. And she's lying. From the way she's holding her cigarette. From the way she's telling the story.
Nothing but ash. It's so stressful. It's like, please, speaking of big glass ashtrays from the 80s, you've got one right by you. Please ash your cigarette. My God, it's like the most stressful scene in the movie, kind of, because you're like, that's going to fall.
It's so stressful because that Stanley Kubrick was on the other side of the camera being like, Shelley, you better not fucking ash that cigarette. You better not fucking flinch. That's gotta stay. That's gotta fucking stay. But yeah, my read is that, like, she's one of the more least reliable narrators because she's trying to actively avoid dealing with this trauma
event.
These events of the past within their family. But by being trapped together like that, it is bringing it out in the two of them, and she's finally forced to confront it at the end.
And that cut epilogue where they couldn't find Jack's body, and combined with the photograph of Jack from the 1920s, which is the last shot, implies maybe that Jack was never there, that it was only her and Danny the whole time. Potentially, you could read it that way.
Yes.
Which is creepy, but also kind of doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense anyway, right? Like,
no.
And I don't mean that pejoratively. It's interesting that it doesn't make sense. When you zoom in on that photo of the fish and goose soiree of 1928 or whatever, and you see Jack there, and you're like, how? What does that mean? And at some point, someone tells him he's always been the caretaker there. What does that mean? Like, you're left to wonder. It doesn't explain it. And I like that, but God, what a good movie.
Yeah.
I just love this movie so much.
I mean, I guess...
What else?
You could make the idea that, like, Jack was never there, and Danny saw that photo of Jack Nicholson and was projecting this man. But that makes no fucking sense, because they drive to the fucking overlook together. Like, but, right. I mean, it is very important that we never see Jack in their apartment at the beginning.
Well, it's because he's in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important for the family dynamic.
Yes.
That he's not,
she's not really
there in their actual home. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's only present with them in the overlook and in the car. Yeah. I mean, I just read it as, and you know what? As I'm going to be very honest, as a child of abuse.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I read this as a story about domestic abuse.
Oh my God, Drusilla. There was like maybe 2 years ago on Twitter, there was like, you know how people are like very moralistic about things these days.
Wait, people are really moralistic on Twitter?
Someone wrote this review of why The Shining hasn't aged well, and their like big take was that it gives a pass to domestic abuse. And so someone tweeted a photo of Shelley Duvall screaming against the door with the axe bursting through it. And it's like picture of The Shining giving a pass to domestic abuse.
Oh my God.
Speaking of abuse, we can't talk about this movie without talking about the production of it.
Oh yeah. So Shelley Duvall had a bad time?
Yes, this movie is notorious because it shot for like a year and a month. Did you know that? Like most movies shoot for 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Like that baseball scene where she's holding the bat and he's walking her up the stairs. They did like 120 takes of that. So she was doing that for 12 hours. Her hands were raw from holding the bat. So basically she was made to cry 12 hours a day for a year. Stanley Kubrick was always telling her that her performance wasn't good and kind of berating her.
Told people on the set to treat her poorly or just not engage with her.
Yeah. Really shitty. I mean, I've been hearing the narrative for many, many years that, that she was abused on the set of this. Now it seems like that's kind of been walked back a bit, where she's like, it was really unpleasant. I wouldn't work with him again, but it is what it is. Yeah. So I'm not really sure where we sit on that issue anymore. Collectively, the collective we.
Yeah. I think it's less like Stanley Kubrick. I think the big headline of Tumblr circa 2012 of Stanley Kubrick abused Shelley Duvall.
He's an abuser, yeah.
Is an abuser. Is a little strong, and I think a lot of people now are finally reading past the headlines and starting to understand the situation. And granted, Stanley Kubrick's history with his actresses has not been incredible. I'm thinking about the way that he and his producing partner absolutely did not do well by Sue Lyon during and after the making of Lolita, when she was still a child. Yeah. Which, considering the subject matter of that movie, come on, you sons of bitches, really?
Right.
However, I feel like the conversation around the working conditions on The Shining are very similar to the conversations that are being had right now around the working conditions with method actors.
Yes.
Basically saying, a lot of people, it's been being brought up because Jeremy Strong from the television show Succession, which I haven't watched. I know nothing about it.
I'm watching it right now with Joel. I adore it. But go on.
It seems like your cup of tea, and I'm enjoying it.
It is the most Capricorn-coded television show of all time. I'm a legendary Capricorn, and Succession is for me.
That sounds correct. But Brian Cox, who is the patriarch of the family and the star of Manhunter and Rushmore, famously does not care for such acting and is annoyed by it and has been very, very vocal lately about how he doesn't like it. Yep. And, after the whole Jared Leto Suicide Squad, sending dead animals to his castmates and shit like that, and people are really starting to be like, maybe this is bad. Maybe you shouldn't be doing this shit.
Well, here's where my theater major can come out too, though, because the method acting is an American tradition that comes out of the 1930s and 40s from the group theater in New York. And Brian Cox rather, is British. Mm-hmm. So they don't do that there. So he's coming from a very different tradition of what is this? Acting is just make pretend, just be the character, get over it and just act, pretend.
Not unlike the famous story of Sir Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman when they made Marathon Man together. When Dustin Hoffman was very much in the what am I going to work on? How am I going to play the scene? And he went to Laurence Olivier for acting advice, and Laurence Olivier said, "Yeah, just act."
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, you're not really encouraged in method act. You're not supposed to inconvenience everyone around you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a very selfish way of looking. I mean, there's any number of ways actors can do that anyway, method acting or not, because actors tend to be like that once they get a little power. But I don't know. I feel like the rush to condemn method acting isn't entirely fair, because it's a means that works for a lot of actors and has for 100 years almost. And just because one actor is an asshole doesn't mean that this whole school of acting is wrong.
Exactly. It's insane. That's what I'm getting at. It's the same thing with The Shining.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
We don't... You're correct. We don't need to be getting to this level, right? Yeah. Method acting has its place. Look at Daniel Day-Lewis. Look at all these other good examples of it. But you don't need to be taking it to the Jared Leto level at the point that you are inconveniencing or annoying or disrupting your crew members and the people that you are working with.
Yeah.
You're crossing a line. And it's the same thing with The Shining. Like, Stanley Kubrick did not have to go that far.
No. It's a completely unacceptable behavior.
Yeah.
But what bothers me about it is that some people seem to be implying, look, we know that Shelley Duvall has schizophrenia. She has really severe mental health issues currently. And there's like kind of an implication that like Stanley Kubrick somehow contributed to that mental state in some weird way. And I don't appreciate that because schizophrenia is, the chemicals in her brain and body.
Exactly.
And they are not Stanley Kubrick's fault. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so because she's in a mental place right now that is really challenging, it's implied that like all of the things in her life somehow led to that, including Stanley Kubrick's treatment of her on The Shining. And those things aren't connected.
It's a very simple narrative. It's very easy to people to be like, a bad thing happened. Someone's in a bad place. Obviously, A to B. It's not. It's far more complicated than that. Was The Shining a bad experience for her? It sounds like it was.
Yes.
From her own account. Is it the cause? Fuck no.
No.
It certainly didn't make things easier for her in the 1978, 1979 when she was making this movie. I will grant, like,
seems really shitty. It seems like a really shitty experience. And she said that too.
Absolutely.
But it's also because she always played these like sort of frail, on the brink kind of characters. And so I think because of that too, we kind of project a certain level of weakness onto her. Like we feel like she as a human is frail instead of the character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like some of that is in the mix too.
It's disappointing because I feel like if you go back and look at a lot of the Robert Altman movies that she did, she is some of the like most strong, determined, interesting characters you could possibly see. If you watch Brewster McCloud or Three Women or Nashville, she is just eating up the screen and one of the most excitable people. And, like the working relationship between Stanley Kubrick and his actors versus Robert Altman and his actors are radically different. But The Shining, the narrative around Stanley Kubrick abused Shelley Duvall on The Shining kind of goes hand in hand with this idea that Shelley Duvall stopped acting after The Shining, and that is like
it's not
the fucking case, even remotely. She obviously did her kind of fairy tale theater.
I grew up on that shit. All 80s and 90s kids watched fairy tale theater.
Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall.
I'm Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. I love that supercut of her just saying, hi, I'm Shelley Duvall
so
for
precious.
Like 10 minutes.
But she also was in Time Bandits. She, in the 90s... Popeye was the same year as The Shining.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was later.
But she was in Guy Madden's Twilight of the Ice Nymphs, which is incredible. She was in freaking Tim Burton's Frankenweenie. Like...
Yeah.
She was still around. She was still doing things. Just because you weren't watching them doesn't mean she didn't exist and wasn't around. All this being said, yes, Shelley is incredible. And she does deserve your respect and support. But harping on this one aspect of her life over and over again, instead of going to watch some of her Robert Altman movies or some of her 90s movies, is lame.
And it's like so moralistic too, because as shitty as it was, Stanley Kubrick's dead. The movie's 40 years old. You can't do anything about any of that. And it's not an excuse not to watch a brilliant movie. It's kind of, to a lesser degree, it's kind of like the Rosemary's Baby thing. Like, yes, Roman Polanski is a monster. Yes, he should be punished. Yes, he is a rapist. Do you know who's not a rapist? Mia Farrow, Ruth Gordon, 100 other people who worked on one of the best horror movies ever. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like one person's behavior, even if that person is the auteur, is not an excuse not to watch the movie, To me.
It gets more complicated when you get to something like, say, Woody Allen, where it's like...
Yes, it does.
Fucking Manhattan. But, like...
Well pointed out, yes.
Yes. Again, it's a spectrum. It's very, very, very easy if you are on the internet and you are below the age of 30 or below the age of 40 or wherever you are in your life to find something that you're upset about and that you have a strong moral stance on, that happened in the past, and that the majority of the players are either dead or not, contributing their pieces to, for you to hop up and say, well, I'm against that. Well, it's like, yeah, because you're not fighting against anyone. You're tilting at windmills. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Like, it happened. It's over. Cool. Go on. You know what I don't like, Josh? The Spanish Inquisition. Not a fan. I don't care who knows it. This is me saying this.
Wow. That's brave.
Wasn't
you
into
heard it
it
here first, listeners.
However, even hotter take, complicated take though, and it's a tough one to reckon with. Mel Brooks' musical number, The Spanish Inquisition from History of the World Part 1, is a banger. And I wrestle with this every night.
I don't think we should be watching like that child molesters movies, Jeepers Creepers and others. Like that's a good example of like let's let these go. But that brings up the question, like, how good is the work? Right?
Yep.
Like Rosemary's Baby is a 5-star historically significant film. So is The Shining.
The Tenant is
Jeepers
a fucking
Creepers
10 out of 10 and no one hates The Tenant.
Exactly. Jeepers Creepers is not that. Like, we can let Jeepers Creepers go by the wayside,
but also,
I'm fine with that.
Jeepers Creepers is even, like, it falls into the Woody Allen category for me, where, like, it is literally about preying on young boys. Same thing,
Yes.
and the even more fucked up one is Clown House from the same director. That is literally
that's
the set.
been like scrubbed from the universe. Like, you can't really find Clown House anymore.
And thank God. And same thing with that guy's Disney movie Powder. Like,
yeah,
it's better that those things are gone, and it's really dismaying and upsetting that that one is still hanging around.
I have such a weird memory of Clown House because I saw it when I was a little kid. My mom and I decided to go on a camping trip together, but there weren't any campsites available, so we just rented like a cheap hotel room. And she went to bed, and I stayed up and was watching television, and I watched Clown House, and I was like maybe 8 or 9. And I remember feeling like, first of all, it was a genuinely scary movie, at least to me at that age, that tender age. But I also felt like it's weird that these kids are naked. Like, it's weird that these little boys, there's like a nude scene with the little boys. And it's super weird.
Oh my God. I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Really
That's
weird.
upsetting. Okay.
Not good.
Not good.
Anyway, it's time to play our favorite game, Have They Seen It, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures had seen this movie.
This is going to be the easiest round ever.
First of all, we can't let this episode go without saying, like, everyone hated this movie in 1980. Everyone gave it bad reviews. Shelley Duvall was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actress. Stanley Kubrick was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Director. Thank God it's been reappraised. Anyway,
I'm saying it right now. The Shining needed that reappraisal. Just because something comes out and it doesn't hit with the audience within its opening box office weekend doesn't mean it's a failure. I'm calling it right now. The next Shining is Babylon. Babylon.
Absolutely.
Babylon is going to have the exact same thing. In 40 years, we're all going to be talking about how everyone was a fucking maroon for not loving Babylon.
Drusilla, from your mouth to God's ears, I feel the exact same way. Although it's worth noting, The Shining was a financial success.
Yes.
But
well,
Pauline Kael wrote a really shitty review of it. All these people wrote really shitty reviews of it.
It's very funny to me that Pauline Kael hated The Shining, but loves everything that Brian De Palma ever touched. It's very cute.
She was such a good writer and such a C-word. And, like, she's such a good writer and she's so funny because she's so shady, but she often got it wrong. And she wasn't, like, the greatest lover of horror.
Pauline Kael got it wrong? The author of the Raising Cain piece that, like, was entirely factually inaccurate and fucked up the history of Citizen Kane until today. Like, the whole reason we have that awful movie Mank is because of that. Despite the fact it's still been debunked.
Yeah.
Lord.
Anyway, we know Pauline Kael saw The Shining.
Unfortunately.
Kind of everyone has seen this movie.
Again,
I'm trying to think of, like...
I you know what might be more interesting for this round, and I think this can be a one-off, because it's very rare that we come across this, but we might have to play an inversion of this game. welcome to the new round of our latest game show. Bring out my tall, skinny microphone, please. Who's not seen it? What famous celebrities do you think deserve the dunce cap of history for still having yet not seen The Shining?
Since we talked about it, I think this is why this person came to mind. And I love this person. So this is not a knock necessarily. But I would believe that Amy Poehler has never seen The Shining.
Interesting. I could buy that. I could see a world in which circa 2005, Amy Poehler and Will Arnett are wed. They are married. Mm-hmm. They are living together under the same roof. And he goes to watch The Shining, and she says, "Oh no, I'm leaving the room. Not for me.
I don't want to be scared." She hates scary movies. There's a world where she hates scary movies, gets really scared, and doesn't want to watch them.
I have found from listening to a lot of Brett Goldstein's podcast, Films to Be Buried With, he has a lot of comedians on because his background is in stand-up. That a lot of comedians don't like horror movies. They don't get it.
Interesting.
Like comedians don't get why people like horror movies. It gets brought up on that show all the time. And it's weird to me because for me, comedy and horror go hand in hand. It is like about eliciting a response from an audience. Like, it is so interesting to me that so many comedians don't get it. But then also you look at all the comedians who are now directing horror movies.
Yeah, like Zach Cregger and people like that.
Like Zach Cregger, yeah. And it's just, it's interesting. It's interesting. Speaking of that, trying to think of someone else who may or may not have, someone who definitely hasn't seen this. And I'm now thinking of 90s comedians, but I want to say that, like, all of the kids in the hall have seen The Shining.
Oh, for sure.
Like, come the fuck on.
Who do you think is the cutest kids in the hall cast member, by the way?
Dave Foley. In drag.
So,
in the 90s. In the 90s.
We're talking about 90s kids in the hall when they're fresh. I always thought that Bruce was the cutest.
Aww.
And I thought that everyone thought that, and I've now learned that not everyone thinks that.
I think Bruce is cute.
But I will say, he's really cute, and I am really into, like, a short, weird man, to be honest.
He's not
like, my type.
I mean, I can see the through line of Bruce to Joel. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. It's
all of my
precious.
boyfriends have been, like, really small, weird guys, so.
That's precious. Anyway. I love that for you.
Yeah. So kids in the hall have all seen this.
They've all seen it. But you know who I'm almost certain has not seen The Shining? He's an American legend. He's still alive. He's been shaping American arts and letters and music for the past 50 plus years, and he famously does not show up to award ceremonies. Bob Dylan has never fucking seen The Shining. I can tell you this much now.
There's no way.
There's no way in hell that Bobbert Dylan has seen The Shining. Martin Scorsese's friend Bob Dylan has definitely not seen The Shining.
Yeah, I agree. This is a person whose new book I'm reading. The book is called It's Okay to Be Angry at Capitalism. This is a person I love, and if you don't love this person, listener, I don't need to hear about it. But this is what I think I don't love about this person. I do not think Bernie Sanders has seen The Shining.
I think Bernie Sanders has seen The Shining.
You do?
I feel like Bernie Sanders has seen The Shining.
It would make me happy to watch.
Probably the same context that I saw it growing up. Basically, like, some kind of, like, family holiday occasion. He's there with his, like, swath of grandkids, and someone puts it on the TV, and he's just there. But it would be the kind of thing where, like, he's coming in and out of the room, like, taking phone calls and getting food, and he's sitting down and being like, "What? Who's that? Why are they?"
He's from Vermont. He's from Vermont too. So, like, what if it's like a snow day and they're snowed in and The Shining is on?
I feel like he's seen it. I feel like he enjoys it, but only because everyone around him is enjoying it. I feel like when he's watching it, he's like, "Who's that guy? I thought they were alone."
He's totally, oh my god, Bernie Sanders is the worst person to watch a movie with, because he does that all throughout in his loud, like,
what's happening
accent. Like, who is that? What's happening? What did he say?
Here's Johnny. Who's Johnny?
Oh my god. Never watch a movie with Bernie Sanders.
But I also feel like if you were like having a conversation with Bernie Sanders and he was like mentioning The Shining, he wouldn't say it by title. He'd be like, "Oh, the one with the twins, the girls, where they murdered the girls, the hack up the girls, the dead bodies, the dead little girls, that one with a naked old lady."
It's a movie from 1980. It stars Jackie Nicholson.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's got that sexy broad. You know, olive oil.
We need to commission a podcast where the comedian James Adomian does his Bernie Sanders impression that's like famous because he's like a famous impressionist. And he just like, it's a podcast of a live recording of The Shining, but Bernie Sanders watching and commenting on The Shining.
So to say, we just need to have him on as like a third co-host,
Sort of like
just as
Mystery Science Theater style.
Honestly, had Bernie Sanders actually done that, he would have won the election.
He would have, yeah. Bernie would have won if he had watched and commented on The Shining.
Listen.
Anyway.
American politics, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have mentioned that people online tend to have, especially in the past 10 years, tend to have a very strong reaction to The Shining based on its production history. And a lot of people a lot of that kind of was rooted in Tumblr circa 2012. So,
which has become the whole world.
Which is, yes, exactly. Since Tumblr went tits up, that just leaked into everything else. But if you think about that time, and the kind of voices that were coming out of the internet and out of Tumblr and Twitter as quote-unquote artistic voices of their generation, someone like, say, Lena Dunham, who I'm sure has seen The Shining, but is still a piece of shit, and other people who were defining 2011, 2012 internet art and feminism. Do you think that poet Rupi Kaur has seen The Shining?
Oh god, Rupi Kaur. I haven't thought of that person in so long. Instagram poetess Rupi Kaur. Oh god. No. Only because Rupi Kaur's never done a single cool thing in her entire
Author
life.
of Milk and Honey, Rupi Kaur has not seen The Shining, you don't think?
Oh my god, what a cringe person. No, I don't think Rupi Kaur has seen The Shining. I think Rupi Kaur, for all of her, like, I'm a poetess kind of stuff, I think when she's alone at home, she's watching, like, the film White Girls. Or...
you mean White Chicks?
Or White Chicks, yeah.
I feel like she's
watching White Chicks, which I like, but...
I feel like the only thing that she watches is Real Housewives.
Oh, yeah. She's totally a Bravo girl, I bet.
Yeah, she's a Bravo girly. That's it. And
totally.
The only movie she watches, like her, if she had a letterboxd and you like looked at her like year in a letterbox, it would be like not that many movies, but it would spike in December because she's watching like Hallmark Christmas movies.
We should genetically bring back Dorothy Parker so that we can put her in a room with Rupi Kaur and print out some of Rupi's poems from Instagram and have them sit across the table from each other and let Dorothy Parker silently read Rupi Kaur's poems and then comment on them to Rupi Kaur's face. That is like, if I were a god with powers unlimited, that's what I would make happen, because that would be a delight.
We just need Dorothy Parker back for humanity's like existence and perseverance. I need Dorothy Parker's review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I just need her. I need her and Pauline Kael to revive from the dead to rip that movie a new asshole.
A podcast by Dorothy Parker and Pauline Kael reviewing movies would be so good.
Josh, I hate to tell you that this might be that podcast.
I think it's true. Yeah, you might be right. That's a good time to bounce out of this episode of Bloodhouse. Thank you so much. Rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bloodhousepod. Drusilla, where can people find you?
I am on the internet. I have a fresh, sparkling new redesigned website at sisterhidedesign.com. A brand new logo. It is spiky and violent and pretty and a lot more modern. So go check that out there. There's brand new work dropping in like a week. It's really, 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 really big. It's really, really, really exciting. If you came here to listen to The Shining, you're going to be very excited about what this is going to be. You're going to be so excited. All those little freaks are about to cream their jeans. It's going to be so big. It's so big. It's so big. I cannot my tongue is bleeding. I've been biting it so hard not talking about this. But you can also find me on ye old Instagrizzles at Hyde Sister. I am also on Letterboxd. If you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline, you will find me, and you will find all the movies I'm watching, and you will find my ranking of Lupin the Third anime features, because that's there. What about you, Josh? Where are you lurking about on the interwebs?
I'm at Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. So, we're watching kind of a weird one next week, and I don't think we've watched a movie from this country yet. Is that correct?
We have not. We are crossing off a big blind spot on the globe. We are following the recommendation of one Guillermo del Toro and watching one of the greatest horror films from Mexico, made in 1986 and recently re-released on Blu-ray by our friends at Vinegar Syndrome, who do not pay us to do this, but they should. We are watching 1986's Poison for the Fairies from...
I can't wait. Cannot wait. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.